Hey everyone, Token Dave over here. The dorky token black guy that's just trying to get by. You know, wasn't for a shock yesterday finding out George A. Romero died. A lot of memories of getting close with my uncle and everything. You know, starting the grieving process. Get out of the shower this morning, turn on the TV, and find out Martin Landau also died. Whew. That's another shot in the gut right there. Damn. Man. Well, I heard on the news everybody talking about him being synonymous for Mission Impossible, playing Roland Hand. Basically, Tom Cruise's role in the current movies. Well, to a degree. See, in the first Mission Impossible movie that came out, 21 years ago, actually. Cruise was the guy that he's always putting the mask on and put on the skies and everything, and that was Martin Landau's character. That was what he did. He was the master of the skies. Actually, he also inspired a character from one of my favorite overlooked cartoons at the time called Danger Mouse, where they had a character named, Agent 57, the master of the skies. If I remember correctly, it was Agent 57. It could be Agent 56. I keep forgetting, but it's one of those two, but the Master of the Skies from Danger Mouse. And that was basically an homage to, Martin Landau doing Roland Hand. And people also talk about his performance from Ed Wood, which is awesome. Him playing Bela Lugosi and everything. In a movie directed by Tim Burton when he was still a hot commodity and when he started gelling with Johnny Depp prior to Johnny Depp's, prior to the Caribbean days. There's one movie people tend to overlook and didn't really talk about from what I've heard. And that was his performance on Crimes and Misdemeanors. And I really feel that I should talk about it because basically this was the first movie that, at the time I keep forgetting if I was 7 or 8, if it was 1988 or 1989, but as a kid, I was mostly watching cartoons, and with movies, it was animated movies, action movies, giant monster movies, or horror movies and all, but Crimes and Misdemeanors was one of the first movies that I could remember really enjoying that was a drama that didn't have anything overtly sensationalized. It was very down to earth. It was a very down to earth movie, and now correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the comments, but the name of his character was Judith Rosenthal. I know for a fact his last name was Rosenthal, but I think his first name was Judith. Going off memory because I have not seen this movie since 1993, and it was one of my favorite movies I would watch at the time. And it was because of watching him in that movie when my mom told me, oh, it's the guy, hey, Sean, that's the guy from Mission Impossible. And I'm like, no, I haven't seen this guy in Mission Impossible. And keep in mind, there was a new Mission Impossible series in the 80s that didn't really last very long. But, my mom, as well as my uncles, got some VCR tapes, and we were watching some of the old Mission Impossible shows, and I was enthralled for it. And it was because of his performance in Crimes and Misdemeanors that I actually really got to watch a lot of his work and followed Landau's career. I have spoken briefly about Ed Wood. I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but that was an awesome performance. Still at the height of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp's career, and he played Bela Lugosi, the guy that played Dracula. Awesome performance. Testament to what a great actor he was. One movie I don't think people really want to talk about, but I will because it's something he did and it's overlooked. But me being a minority male, he was in Baps, and that's a movie that like I really detested. I ask, why did he do that movie? I'm wondering why, you know. But Halle Berry should be ashamed of that movie. Martin Landau, I don't think he should be that ashamed because you know what? As he was already an awesome actor, I don't know if he was that desperate, and I doubt he was because guess what? After being in that POS movie, he went on to be in the X-Files movie. Yes, the height at the X-Files mania, a TV show, cultural phenomenon. You know, he bounced back from being in a really crappy movie like Baps to being in one of the most relevant, talked about, and anticipated movies from a time period where X-Files was basically the shit at that time, and Martin Landau being there, and it fit, it fit that he would be part of a movie that, movie made from a show that became such a cultural phenomenon. And, that's how much of a badass Martin Landau is. He's done other work over the years, a lot of voice work in, one of the most underrated movies called 9, which I really love and everything. And he was in another animated movie that's awesome called Frankenweenie. But, man, trying to really felt the 1-2 punch combination. But Martin Landau, rest in peace. But more importantly, mission accomplished.